Hello, Bernal DNP students. This is just a quick video which will introduce you to resources which can be used to locate tests and measurements, as well as find reviews for those measurements for your dissertation research. So after watching this video, you should know how to access the test and measurements page on the Graduate Nursing LibGuide. You should understand the difference between published and unpublished tests. You should be able to identify and select the appropriate resource for finding information on tests and measures. You should be able to identify reviews of the test or measurement which you wish to use for your research. You should also be able to identify ethical and legal considerations involving the use of tests, and you should understand what you need to do in order to obtain permission to use the test instrument. So basically, there are two types of tests, which are published and unpublished. Published tests are available commercially. They're usually for purchase. These instruments will have established validity and reliability and norms, and they typically come from test manuals and testing protocols. Unpublished tests are found in the scholarly literature, usually in psychology, and typically have been developed by university researchers or other professionals, government agencies, or nonprofit organizations. Copies of these tests may sometimes be found in appendices to journal articles, dissertations, books, and other research reports. So, what is a validated test instrument? So, that's really easy. All that is a test or measurement that researchers have come to the conclusion actually measure what it is they're intended to measure. And you'll want a validated test instrument for your research moving forward. So first, let's go to locating tests. I've put on the Graduate Nursing LibGuide, which you can get to by going to libguides.bernal.edu/DNP, a page on test and measurements. And this is your LibGuide, which you'll be using the whole time you're in the program. But down here at the very bottom, there's a tab for test and measurements. If you click on that, you'll see that I've given you some hints for searching for test and measurements and for reviews of test and measurements up here at the top, with some search terms that you might want to include when you're searching for these scales. So finding the right test or measure can be challenging because there isn't one single research methodology or research. Often you'll need to consult multiple resources, but hopefully this page will make that easier for you. So usually you're going to locate test and measurements in databases and scholarly journal articles, online sources, and dissertations, other dissertations and theses. But you can always be in touch with your librarians if you're having trouble with finding a test or a review of a test. So let's go here into databases, and I'm going to show you really quickly ways and search terms that you can use to find test instruments if you're not sure of the name of an instrument to measure a particular variable in your dissertation yet. And I'm just going to go into Galileo Quick Search. I'm going to log in. And from here, I'm going to go into the advanced search right here underneath the big search button. And let's just say that I'm interested in finding a measure for cognitive function. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put quotation marks around cognitive function. The reason I'm doing that is because I want the database to understand that I only want cognitive function, the two words together, and in the order in which I've typed them. Then I'm going to put function, and then I'm going to put an asterisk behind the word function. And that's going to let the database know that I'll take function or functioning or functions. Any spelling of the word will be acceptable to me. I'm going to close those quotation marks, and then I'm going to tell it that I want a survey or instrument or scale. It's best to be really broad when you're first starting these searches. So here I'm going to click on search. And I'm going to see that I've got a good amount of information here about different cognitive scales for assessing functioning in particularly older adults. If I click on the title of one of the articles, it will take me into the area where I can look through the abstract and see that they use the Montreal Cognitive Assessment scale in order to assess cognitive functioning in older adults. So I might want to go back and change my search to Montreal Cognitive Functioning Scale and see how many other researchers have used this as a measure for cognitive functioning in older adults. Next, I'm going to go back into the databases box here on the test and measurements page on the Graduate Nursing LibGuide, and I'm going to go into PsycInfo. So in addition to the abstract, PsycInfo entries for most of the recent studies include the name of the instrument used in the test and measures field. So this will be a good way also for you to find test and measures. I'm going to go into the advanced search here. And let's just say that we're still interested in cognitive function, and now we know we're interested in cognitive function in elderly adults. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to put in geriatric. And we're going to see what we get. So if you're interested in an article, click on its title. And if you scroll down, it will tell you that they use the computer-assisted personal interviewing, and they use the Montreal Cognitive Assessment Survey Adapted in this particular study here under Test and Measures in PsycInfo. Now we'll need to find reviews of these measures. So all that reviews do of these measures is let us know whether other researchers, experts in the field have validated these particular measures and said that they actually measure what it is they are supposed to measure. So to find those reviews, we're going to go back into Galileo, and we're going to take, instead of the idea of what it is we want to study, we're actually going to put in the name of our measure that we found from our other searching. And I'm going to say Beck Depression Inventory. And then here, instead of survey or instrument or scale, we want to try and review or validity. And here we're going to see that we've gotten some good results for reviews of the Beck Depression Inventory. So there's a lot here: questionnaire review, Beck Depression Inventory, meta-analysis of the English version, of the Beck Depression Inventory, a preliminary review in veterans. All of these things are going to be helpful when you're trying to build the case in the methods section of your dissertation on why you chose this particular inventory and why it actually measures what it is you've said that it measures. Another place that you might find the name of a particular inventory is in dissertation abstracts by ProQuest. So one of the best ways to find reviews, as you've already seen, is in scholarly journal articles. And one of the best places to find what survey instruments other researchers are using to measure your variable is in scholarly journal articles and also in dissertations. So this box will provide you with links to get into dissertation abstracts by ProQuest so you can search other dissertations on your topic. There's also a link to Georgia State theses and dissertations, as well as this is particularly helpful. The College of Nursing at UMass publishes all of their dissertations online. Another place that you can look for the name of reviews is here in this list of reviews and mental measurements. So mental measurements, a whole reason for being is that it's entirely a collection of reviews of scales and measures. So validated reviews of scales and measures. And you can look through here and you can look for years and years and years through here and find the names of all of the measures that have been reviewed in Mental Measurements Yearbook. The problem with Mental Measurements Yearbook is that we only have this in print in the library. So if you find the name of a measure that you wish to use in your research and you would like the reviews from Mental Measurements Yearbook Series Text and Prints, please just be in touch with the library. We'll be happy to go and find it for you, scan it, and email it to you. You can do that by coming into the LibGuide and anywhere on the LibGuide, finding this email me for Emily Thornton, or you can ask a librarian right here. If you click on Ask Us, you can ask us any question that you might have. Other resources that I've given you back on the test and measurements page are some generalized information about copyright and permission. So published tests are usually ones that you're going to purchase. Purchasing a test will gain you copyright permissions to use the test and the testing materials. If, however, you've decided that you're going to use an unpublished test, you're going to need to ask the author for permission to use it. And that's fairly easy. Some of them may respond to your request, some of them may not. But I've linked also an example of a sample permission letter here in case you do need to ask permission to use somebody's unpublished test or measurement. In addition, I've put some open access assessment resources down here that might be helpful to you. And I've linked Galileo and PsycInfo, CINAHL, which is a big, wonderful medical database that you might also use a lot here under the databases tabs. And I've put many of those search terms that I used when I was searching the databases here just to prompt your memory. If you have any other questions, please feel free to be in touch with the librarian at Brunel. Thank you.